Today, Monday, September the 27th, singer R.Kelly was found guilty of sexually abusing women, boys, and girls for decades. The 54-year-old was convicted on all 9 counts against him, including racketeering and violations of the Mann Act, which prohibits the transport of any woman or girl across state lines for any immoral purpose. Kelly sat stone-faced next to his lawyer as the verdict was read. R. Kelly faces 10 years to life in prison, and he will be sentenced on May the 4th, 2022. The victims in this case, your voices were heard, and justice was finally served. This is what was stated by the U.S. Attorney, and she said this outside of the court after the verdict. No one deserves what they experienced at his hands or his threats. A jury of 7 men and 5 women deliberated for about 9 hours across 2 days before reaching their unanimous verdict. In the federal courthouse in downtown Brooklyn, prosecutors painted R. Kelly as a predator who used his fame and a cadre of employees to prey on young victims. This case is not about celebrities who like to party a lot, the U.S. Attorney Maria Cruz Melendez said in her opening statement last month. This case is about a predator. And I'll have to definitely agree with the U.S. Attorney. This state is about a predator. It's about R. Kelly being a predator towards these young kids and young women. To prove R. Kelly's racketeering charge against him, prosecutors showed jurors how R. Kelly used a network of friends and employees in his inner circle to transport his victims across state lines, control their actions, and facilitate the sexual abuse. Prosecutors from the Eastern District of New York called a parade of witnesses who testified about the abuse, the disgrace singer subjected to them. The first to take the stand was accuser Jorhanda Pace, who said R. Kelly repeatedly had sex with her over the course of several months. After the two exchanged numbers at a party at the singer's suburban Chicago mansion when she was under 18 years of age. During their last encounter, R. Kelly's, whose full name is Robert Kelly, allegedly became enraged at Pace because she was texting on her cell phone and did not address him when he walked into the room. That R. Kelly smacked her in the face and forced her to perform oral sex on him. During her testimony, she also read from a journal at times, pausing to wipe away her tears. She had to write this stuff down because he had did so much things that traumatized these women and young children that she had to write some of it down. Reading from her journal, she read, "I went to Rob's house and he called me a bitch. He said I was a silly bitch. He slapped me 3 times and said if I lied to him again, it's not going to be an open hand next time. He spit in my face and mouth. He choked me during an argument. I had sex with him. I had oral sex with him. And I went home." Pace said that R. Kelly ejaculated in her face and said she used her Aeropostale t-shirt to wipe off the semen. Yeah. Bad character. R. Kelly's attorney sought to cast Pace and his other accusers as hysterical fans who were obsessed with R. Kelly and concocted stories about him because he refused their advances. One of his victims was R&B singer Aaliyah, as we all know, whom R. Kelly illegally married in 1994 when she was 15 years of age. A former tour manager for R. Kelly testified in August that he bribed a Chicago area welfare office employee to make an ID for Aaliyah that listed her age as 18 and he did this when he was 27 years of age. Prosecutors also alleged that R. Kelly married Aaliyah, who died in a plane crash at age 22 in an attempt to dodge criminal charges for having sex with a minor and to block her from testifying against him about the abuse. Another witness at the trial, a former backup dancer identified as Angela, told jurors that she witnessed R. Kelly performing oral sex on Aaliyah when she was 13 or 14 years old on a tour bus they were traveling on. The defense attorney called several witnesses as the trial went on, relying on R. Kelly's employees and other people whose careers were closely tethered to the former star to cast him in a more positive light. One defense witness for R. Kelly was music consultant Julius Darrington, who testified he worked with R. Kelly for several years prior to his arrest and did not see R. Kelly abusing women while he worked with him in his Chicago studio and while they traveled across the country for shows. Under cross-examination, Darrington said he had no knowledge of what R. Kelly did while he was not with him. See, you're complicit to it, Julius, because you were with him all this time, doing studio time, traveling across the country with him, and you saw nothing. You had to at least allege something was going on. But then when you were cross-examined, you said, I don't got no knowledge of what R. Kelly does when he's not with me. See, that's when you know the backpedaling starts. An attorney for R. Kelly said that after the verdict, they would likely file an appeal, but did not provide a timeline for when this would happen. And it gets a little thicker. It says that a number of disgraced singers' supporters, mostly of whom sat in a courtroom with a video feed of the trial throughout its duration, gathered in a park across the street from the courthouse after the verdict to show their support for R. Kelly. One of them was a man named D'Angelo Brister, who claimed to be Kelly's godson, and he said the verdict was based on faulty evidence. This is totally unjustified. The testimony from his accusers, they didn't add up. There were holes involved in it, Brister said. They found someone guilty on word of mouth. That's that bullshit. Why is it that bullshit? First of all, they have video. It's just like somebody saying Polite didn't do what he did when they have DNA. R. Kelly, he got more than just the one sex tape that people seen with him urinating on that girl. They got other sex tapes that he did. So he's far from being innocent. See, this is what happens when you get these men that male worship other men. They start caping for them even though they're in the wrong. Even though they did the foulest shit that a man could do, which is violating a child, sexual abusing somebody's child. But you still find a way to cape for them. And this ain't even just it for R. Kelly. R. Kelly faces more charges outside of New York. He was charged by state prosecutors in Minnesota with engaging in prostitution with a minor and by federal prosecutors in Illinois for child pornography and obstruction. So he's far from out of the woods. They got that ass. But we have to be, especially men, especially the men out here, we have to be stand up and say, if it looks like a dog and bark like a dog, it probably is. Just because of his status, you can't allow him, you can't cape for him as if he's innocent. They made, those prosecutors made sure they had all their ducks in a row. Some people that caping for him saying, oh, they only got him because of the movie. No, they was going to get him sooner or later anyway. But we should be glad they got him. And we should definitely want him to get the life. Not the tender life, get the life. Because he's a predator. A predator is a predator is a predator. And with that, I'm going to say this is the news in you. North, east, west, south. Unite from every alley in Cali, intersection and back street. Subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up on your way out the door.
I'm not who you think I am. Your perception is a lesson with a fail grade on it. Steady living life like I would never see the morning. True shit, man, I'm more than pain, I'm more than stain on sidewalk, I'm more than black skin on my face. Destined to be great, gotta elevate mind. Elevation is the game that I gotta play. Gotta win, gotta find escape to a better day.